And for who missed the interviews earlier, I was interviewing Jeff Rappaport and Keith Carney. Jeff Rappaport's from Metal Rules TV, and Keith Carney's from Fallout Zine. All right.
Hey.
All right. And now we're
Everything's
back.
cool. Everything's cool. I got a beer.
All right. Good thing your house is not on fire.
Yeah.
Metal as
sure
fire
that,
is. It's not metal when you're burning alive.
Well, I want to make sure I save my Kiss dolls and my wife.
All right. So what I was saying, what I was saying was there's a video I discovered of from the 80s where this woman was making a PSA about her program, and she said she called it demetaling, where she took away all the shirts, all the albums and stuff, and says it was a program that actually got the kids out of heavy metal, quote unquote.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of that?
That just sounds satanic to me in itself. Like,
Yeah.
like not even good satanic. It sounds like evil that you have to take something that makes somebody happy away from them. I mean, I just think it's people misreading stuff. I think they see the imagery and they don't realize that Harry Potter is just as scary. It's like,
Right.
but they'll still take their kids to a movie theater and drop them off to see Harry Potter, and there's all kinds of wizardry and crazy shit in those movies. But some people are just stupid. Like, I think the saddest thing is that maybe there's not enough time to ever do this, but like if people were like parents would have ever been able to meet somebody like Ronnie James Dio, like the guy was a class act. He was a very nice guy. I think if most parents would have met somebody like him, they'd be like, I should have my kids listening to heavy metal, I just think there's just a misperception in general about anything attached to heavy music, like, I don't know much about this guy, but when you look at somebody like this kid, Justin Bieber, the reason parents buy their kids those records is because it looks like it's safe, Like if they look at a Kiss record, it doesn't look safe to them, even though the songs are pretty much poppy. Like if you listen to a Kiss song, they're pretty much pop, heavy rock songs.
Right.
But the imagery scares the shit out of parents. So, but the thing that's funny is most kids love scaring the shit out of their parents, but sometimes it backfires. You know what I mean? Like where your parents will freak out, think you're on drugs, and take all your records away from you and your T-shirts. But to me, that's just another way to make your kid rebel even more.
Yeah, you're right on that. I always thought that good parenting is like should be, bad parenting is probably the cause of most of the incidents. Like, there was a parent who blamed Beavis and Butthead for their child starting a fire, yet the parent failed to keep all the stuff that would light fires out of the child's way.
Yeah.
Or it was just like, I mean, it's a sad incident nonetheless, but you can't be putting the blame on something else that isn't like, something's fault. Yeah, I guess it's hard for a parent because, saying that they've failed as a parent is a pretty epic thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to blame themselves. There's no doubt. A lot of times with a lot of parents, they'll look for everything else but themselves. Like most really pretty awesome parents usually will look at themselves and go, maybe I should have done a better job. But a lot of times, like you'll see parents like when Priest got sued for these two kids that committed suicide, it's like they ended up trying to sue Priest, and it was a big court battle, and it really came down to that the parents probably weren't there for their kids, and so these kids did like a double suicide, and Judas Priest, I remember there was a whole big court case on this during the 80s,
Record playing backwards.
Yeah, but the thing that's so funny is nobody's, paying attention to how many successful cases you have of people that were into heavy metal and went on to do great things. There's a lot of people, there's even athletes that listen to heavy metal music, so I just think that they show more of the negative than there's so many more positives,
That's a good answer. All right. Here's a good question I've been saving up for somebody. Is
okay.
Quote unquote controversial personalities. Basically, people within the heavy metal community that always get bashed for their for how they view stuff or how they speak out. My two examples are Billy Milano gets called out on like him being offensive, or the Great Cat gets called out on being too self-absorbed and stuff like that. Like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, you know what I've learned is that you can never please everybody. Like, you know, I try my damnedest to be a pretty good human being, but there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like you. So that's something you've got to accept. But also, when you speak up more or you make strong points, you've got to be prepared for even more backlash. You know, I actually am friends with Billy Milano, so I actually like the guy. I think he's kind of hilarious. You know.
Oh yeah, awesome music.
Yeah, but some people don't get him, you know, and if you don't get him, he'll offend you. But see, I also come from a different generation of people. Like, I don't think everything needs to be PC. You know, I don't think everybody should watch everything they say, and you know, our world has become so like not just sue happy, where you can get sued for almost anything, but you have to watch your words, and it's like I think it's cool to be respectful of people, but you know, the world isn't a perfect place. So people that try to, you know, like, I hate to get even on the subject of religion, but a lot of that's just where they try to brainwash people and, you know, tell you that you're a bad person if you like boobs, you know, or some crap like that. It's like, dude, we all come from basically boobs, so it's understandable when dudes like boobs, you know. But I just think that we have this whole mindset of trying to change people, and unless they're really fucking crazy, like certifiably 5150, I think most people should be able to live their lives the way they want to live them. And I support people that maybe don't like Billy Milano, but I actually do like Billy Milano. I mean, everybody has a choice to feel whatever way they want to feel, but I could see how Billy has kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. I mean, I love the SOD record is an amazing record.
Right.
I mean, even some of the stuff he did with MOD, but the SOD record is, in my honest, humble opinion, is one of the all-time classics. You know, so I think it's you know, but there's some offensive material on it at the same time. You know, like, I love Jimi Hendrix, but I never took it that serious when he said, you know, the song I think it's called Jimi Hendrix, and he says, "You're dead." You know, some people might take that offensive, or even when you listen to a song like, you know, "Speak English or Die," some people would find that offensive. I thought it was a great song, kind of funny, tongue in cheek, but some people don't find that shit funny.
Right.
So I just think when you're kind of up front and in people's faces with stuff, you're going to have to prepare yourself. There will be some backlash.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that people who do take Speak English or Die is like 100% serious. I believe they did tour in Japan. Yeah, I think it was at the Budokan or something like that. But they did tour in Japan, and you know, obviously they weren't going to tour there if they actually hated people who you know, wouldn't speak the language or anything like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff on that record's basically tongue-in-cheek and satire, and they're just pointing out some of the obvious things that, you know, even when you like write material, sometimes you could be making a point that's not, some people aren't getting it the right way. Like, they probably, you know, for a fact, I know they're not racist because I've hung out with Billy Milano, you know what I mean? Even there are other bands, there's some bands that just go out of their way to piss people off. Like, I was really good friends with a guy named Seth from Anal Cunt, all right? And that band's all about pissing people off. Right. But he was a good friend of mine, so, you know, it's kind of it's a double-edged sword, you know? Like, some people, like, he died not too long ago, and I'm sure some people didn't care, you know? But he was a friend of mine, so it was kind of sad, you know, that he died because I got along good with him, you know? There's always two sides to every story.
Yeah. And the Great Cat is sometimes, or a lot of times, called out for being very, you know, overly proud. If you ever seen like the interviews with her, I mean, I think that she's, you know, half joking. I mean, people should be a little bit more objective and just like the music and not really care about the personality. But
yeah, I'll be honest with you, I actually enjoy her.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't. I think you have to kind of get it though. Some people just don't get it, and her interviews are over the top. Like, but I think she really is that way. I just think she's over the top. She might. I mean, there's like me and my wife were actually watching some videos, clips of her, and we actually either think she's completely a genius or completely mad, starking, craving, nuts, or maybe a bit of both. I think she's actually a bit of both. But there's a little bit of genius in there too, and obviously she's a badass musician. I don't care what anybody says. You can't play that fast and not be a badass musician.
Exactly.
And she's pretty driven. I mean, that girl's now she's a lady, but she's been around for a long time. So the great cat, I mean, I think she's got balls, and you got to give her credit for that. Like, there's not too many women that have done what she's done.
You're right about that. All right, I'm not quite sure why I wrote down this question because it's completely out of nowhere. But
It's all right.
have you ever heard of a video called the black metal prank phone call, where I think it was done by Paul Gilbert's friend, Paul Gilbert from Racer X?
Yeah.
I think it was done by one of his friends, and he calls a person who's looking for a musician for a black metal band.
Okay.
And he's impersonating, he's trying to impersonate a guy who is black, interested in a band, and he's talking about busting out turntables and stuff.
That's funny. I actually can't say I've heard it. I might have heard like a bit of it, because it does kind of, so it sounds familiar, but I can't say honestly I've completely heard it. So, but it sounds funny.
Oh, yeah, check it out.
Is it anything like the Jerky Boys, or is it crazier than that? The Jerky Boys was like a crank call thing that these guys did during the 80s, or maybe even the 90s, but it would probably be like mid or early 90s. But so damn funny. So if it's funny, I'm up for it. I think humor is always a good thing.
All right. Also, in terms of new technology, what have you enjoyed the most and think has actually helped out metal, as in like just some new form of technology?
In a whole, the internet. Just bottom line. I mean, like, everybody wonders why I'm so into it. My thing is, dude, I'm from the 80s, all right? So the internet, to me, this might as well be like Star Trek or 007 Secret Mission. Like, I feel like a spy. I mean, that we can actually sit here, video chat. I can see you, you can see me. I'm sitting here drinking beer, talking to you about metal, and other people can listen in. I mean, in the 80s, we used to have to call each other, and there was actually something, I don't even know if you've ever heard of it, but we had party lines where you could get like 8 people on these party lines, and we would all talk. Like, I remember one time we were on the line, it was me, this guy named Boivor Cregan, who actually is the guy that started Blabbermouth, another guy named Nasty Ronnie, who's in a band called Nasty Savage,
Oh, yeah.
Chuck from Death, and I think it was Dave Houston. Yeah, it was Dave Houston from Slaughter from Canada. And we were all on these party lines on telephones. So to see where the internet is now, I mean, it's insane. Like, the internet has helped music so much. It's helped 100%. But at the same time, it has killed a part of the music business too, which is basically record sales and shit like that. But I think that things are always evolving, so there'll be a way around it. Like, I just think that bands have to tour more. They have to go out and, sell themselves on the road, like play concerts, sell tickets, sell T-shirts, that kind of shit. For me, it's a little bit different because I never really got in it to make billions. I got into music because I love it. If I can make a living doing it, that's great, But I think the thing is that the music's always evolving, and the internet has helped massively. Like, now bands, you don't even really need a record label. You can start your own record label. I mean, there are underground guys out there that have not just record labels, they have fanzines, they have even cassettes, dude. There are people still making cassette tapes.
Oh, yeah.
My friends are doing that. Yeah, the internet's great for all that. So to me, it's the best thing is the internet. But obviously the new thing, like, even though Facebook's not really new anymore, it's probably like one of the strongest things for music. And it's funny to me because I still see guys just getting on Facebook. Like, you'd be amazed how many guys are still just starting up Facebook accounts and they just left MySpace. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, MySpace has been dead for so long. It's not even funny. I mean, it's still there, but it's like a trash can with a bunch of trash in it.
Yeah, I heard a lot of bands still use it though as a means of sharing music.
Yeah, but you can still share your music through Facebook. You just gotta, post a link. Say, hey, here's my new song or here's my new album. It's, you know, MySpace is just like they screwed it up so bad. It's just like you go there and you don't hardly even recognize how to do stuff on it because it's so jacked up. But I think a lot of people are on Facebook, but there'll always be another one. There's always going to be another, place to go. Like I'll tell you the newest one, since we're talking about like the newest things, and this is kind of funny because it's not totally hardcore, but it's a rad site. It's called Pinterest. Have you heard of Pinterest yet?
No. What is it?
You should check out Pinterest. It's crazy. It's basically like it's this kind of a site like Facebook, but it's more for like say you find something you like a picture of something you like, and you pin it, and you can always find it again because you have files on your Pinterest page. Like you make these different files. Like you could have a file that's all like album covers, and every time you see an album cover you like, you pin it into your album cover file, and whenever you want it again, you just go back to your file and it's there. Like you don't even have to save the picture; it's already saved just by pinning it. It's awesome, So check out Pinterest. I mean, there's actually a Hirax Pinterest page. Let me see if I can find the link right now. I'll just put it up. This Pinterest page is really, really cool. I'm going to find you real quick. Yeah, Mr. James. I'm going to send it to you. Well, I can do it right here. Here you go. Here's the link. Check it out. And I'm going to post it on my site as well. But Pinterest is like the newest site for like, once you get used to it, like the problem with most music people is they don't like change. Whenever there's something changed, they're like remember when this new timeline started on Facebook? Everybody's like, I hate Facebook. They changed everything, and it's like,
right.
No, you just got to try to get used to it. Now, that's the thing. Try to get used to it. But the Pinterest is a new thing, and you just go there and you kind of get an idea, and then you can start your own page and do stuff from there.
Sounds cool.
It's catching on. This is what's really funny about it. It's already the third biggest site for this kind of stuff, like for social networking. It's the third biggest in the world right now. And a lot of people don't even know about it.
So, what I just sent was the black metal prank phone call video.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.